Okay, as you can see, I'm wearing the same shirt. I did these all at once, so anyway. I'll be back on Monday. So this is my last of the videos. This is by far the hardest one. So if you could manage to stop talking to the person next to you or near you and pay attention, you can be successful on your assignment today. But I'm going to need you to try to focus on what we're doing here. This is the idea of dividing with exponents. So once again, there's a property that we're going to use, a shortcut, which says this. If you've got a base, and again, very similar to multiplication, the bases have to be identical or this trick doesn't work. That can be raised to the power of m, and, standing for any number we don't know, and b to the n. So much like when we multiply, we added. You can probably guess what's going to happen here. When we divide, we're actually going to subtract the exponents. Okay, so you would have b to the m minus the n. So this is the basic property for dividing with exponents. Now I'm going to show you two different ways. One is this way, but I'm going to show you a different way that I'm going to expect you to use. I think you're going to find it a little easier. So let us begin. Okay, so we've got 4 to the third divided by, say, 4 nothing. So there's no exponent. So because this doesn't have an exponent on it, I'm going to take my pencil. I'm going to mark a 1 on there. It's going to just kind of help me keep track of everything. Now, if we use the property, which you may like, you would get 4, and then you'd go 3 minus 1, which is 4 squared. Okay? Which is nice because the numbers are easy. The method I'm going to show you next is the one I'm going to use because when things get a little more complicated, I find this next method a little bit easier. So let me show you this method. And this method we're going to call the cancellation method. So let me write that down. I'm going to put a little star. Cancellation method. So that's the method you're going to see me do examples of. So I've got 4 to the third. So if you think about it, how many 4s is that expanded out? That's 3 4s. And this is just 1 4, so that's 1 4. So what you end up with is 4 over 4. Well, these guys are going to cancel. That's the whole idea of canceling out. And you're left with 2 4s up top. Well, 4 2s is going to be 4 squared over none. I mean, this guy's all got, so that would be a 1, which is really just 4 squared. Now, you may be thinking, well, it's just easier to go 3 minus 1 is 4. That's fine. That's fine if you want to do it that way. I'm just saying this way is going to help us a little bit more when they get a little more complicated. So choose what you like, but let me show you a couple more examples of how this works. So I'm going to take 3 to the 4th. Take 3 to the 4th divided by 3 squared. So again, I'm going to stick with my cancellation method. 3 4s, or 3 to the 4th would be 4 3s. So 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. So I do it all 4 times. 3 squared would be 2 3s. And I'm going to cancel, cancel, and I can clearly see that there's 2 3s left on top. So my fraction would be 3 squared, and everything's gone from the bottom, so that would be over 1, which is simply 3 squared. And again, you could go 4 minus 2 is 3 squared. That's fine. But again, I think you're going to like this method when we get into the next part, which is having variables mixed into all of this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take 2x to the 5th all over 3x. Now, as you can see, this one's going to get a little more complicated. I've got 2 coefficients here that I got to mess around with. Remember, this is division. So but right away, I notice this doesn't have a number, no exponent, raised to a power, so I'm going to put a 1 there to help me. And now I'm going to start with my expanding. I'm going to expand this thing out. I'm going to leave the 2 right where it is. Now I've got 5 x's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 x's. I got a 3 here, and I've got 1x. So I'm going to deal with the numbers first. Always deal with the coefficients first. Now 2 and 3, they don't simplify. 3 doesn't go into 2, and 2 doesn't go into 3. So rather than use a calculator and get a decimal, I'm going to leave 2/3. That's going to be part of my answer. I'm not doing anything with those numbers. So now I'm going to deal with the x's. Well, I'm going to cancel those out. So there's no x's here on the bottom, none. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 left. So x to the 4th. And this will be your final answer. This is fine. Just leave it just like this. See, this is why I like the cancellation method, because you can clearly see what gets crossed off on the top and what gets crossed off on the bottom, and your answer is whatever is left. All right. One more. Well, this will be as hard as it gets. So if you understand this next one, you're doing really, really good. So I'm going to have 8a squared b to the 4th. Now I'm going to divide that by 2a to the 6th b. So as I like to do, there's nothing on this b. There's no exponent, so I'm going to put one there. Before I even get started, I'm going to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start expanding all this out. I'm going to leave my 8 alone. I got 2 a's. Times there. So I got 4 b's, so times b, 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 b. I'm going to expand this out, so 2 times, and I got 6 a's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I've got the 1b. Now don't be lazy. I know you're thinking about being lazy because you're saying, oh, that's too much work. It's not. It's not that big of a deal. Well, again, once you get the hang of all this stuff, if there's shortcuts that you want to do, go ahead. So, as always, I'm going to deal with my numbers first. I've got an 8 and a 2. Well, unlike the 2 and the 3 I saw before, 2 does go into 8 an even amount of times. So that's going to eliminate my 2 and make a 4 up top. Okay? So I'm going to put a 4 up top because 2 goes into 8 4 times. So this one's going to work out that I can simplify. So I'm going to cancel my a's. Now I'm going to notice now, unlike the other ones, I've got more a's on the bottom than I do on the top. So these a's, these 4 a's, are going to stay on the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that stays on the bottom. Again, they can be on the bottom. They don't always have to be on the top. It's whoever has the most. And then you cancel out. Just like if I look at the b's, cancel out the b's, there's no b's down here, but I've got 1, 2, 3 b's left up top. So I put the b down, 1, 2, 3. So again, that's why I kind of like this cancellation method, because you can clearly kind of see your answer here. So good luck with the assignment. I'll be back on Monday. Okay, little John, take me out.
Dang, y'all, this is easy. Okay.